And welcome to News Channel Nebraska Studios, the Coaches Show live for you. Week 2, in case you haven't figured it out, it's Coach's Corner merged with the Geo Show, as we now have Grant Otten back on set with us, and we have all 3 coaches coming in again for you tonight. And Coach Williams is opening things off. And Coach, I have to ask, as a man you coached back in the day, how does it feel to be with a fellow Discover, a record holder as well on the defensive end?
Yeah, absolutely. He was a heck of a football player for us, and it's exciting to see our guys out there and promoting the sports, and especially the game of football.
It's a new age, though. You guys got plenty of good players beyond me. So
Yeah, that was back in the old days.
That was a while ago.
Well, some good players playing on Friday night. We have a good one for you. Plenty of highlights coming up as Columbus coming off a dramatic double overtime victory in week number 2 against Bennington. So let's just jump right into the highlights. Coach, this was a dramatic one, but one the program's been wanting for quite a while, and it came down right to the end, but Discoverers came out on top.
Yeah, it's a tremendous win for our kids to be able to pull something like that out, especially after week 1 when we let one get away from us there in the fourth quarter. And to be honest with you, we jumped out to an early lead in this football game, 21-7, and let them back into it. Actually gave up the lead in the fourth quarter. But our kids really hung in there. They believed in themselves. And when it came time in the last minute and a half, they made big plays, and we had a big kick return to set up a touchdown, and made the 2-point conversion. And in overtime, I don't think there was any doubt that we were going to finish that football game.
Michael Cook helming the offense for you guys, 17 for 32
TDs. You also had 3 interceptions you mentioned on defense, and so that's a big day for him. But as far as offensively, that's good for a young QB. Is he a guy you can see helming the offense for you guys moving forward? And if he's in that position, what is the kind of production level he needs to be at for you guys to be successful?
Well, I think if Michael stays at that 65% completion rate, throwing for 150 yards a game, I think we're going to be in great shape. And the thing that Michael brings to the table is he's got some elusiveness, he's got some speed when he gets out into the open space, and to be honest with you, he's got some instincts back there that we haven't seen in a while. Plus he's 6'4", 6'5", so that helps. But he doesn't have the strongest arm, but he's very accurate with it, and so he's just got a lot of intangibles that we really like in a quarterback.
And speaking of those intangibles, carried it 18 times. He also threw it 30, producing a lot of that offense on that end, so it's always obviously a plus when you have a dual threat quarterback like that. And again, a name that's pretty familiar with the Discoverers is Colton Wolf, who carried it 22 times for over 100 yards as well. So happy with the offensive production you had? You put up 50 points in the contest.
Yeah, absolutely. And Colton, he really didn't have a very good first half. We didn't block very well up front. We made a slight adjustment to our ISO play in the second half, and he really came out in the second half and put up a ton of yards. We were throwing the ball in the first half to keep that ball moving, but Colton finished the game with over 150 yards rushing and scored 4 touchdowns on the ground, had another one through the air, 2-point conversion to win it there at the end, and I'll tell you, he was one tired young man along with a number of other guys that played both ways for us when that game was over, but also a very relieved captain and big member of this football team.
We talked about that. We talked about beforehand. You said that's a record for the school for points in the game, so that's obviously a great night for him. NEBHSSports.com talked about Wolf a little bit and talked about the Discoverers. They mentioned CHS as a team that can make some noise in Class B this year. I mean, do you see the possibilities of maybe a 7-2, 6-3, even an 8-1 type season as you guys move forward here?
Yeah, this team knows that they're a good football team. They know that what we have to do to get to the level we want to get to, and they also know we're not there yet. So to be honest with you, we haven't talked about anything but Grand Island Northwest, and we're going to continue to focus on this one game at a time. There's some teams down the road that certainly can be eye-opening games for us if we can pull them out. But GI Northwest this week was ranked number 10 by a couple of the polls, so it's a chance to play another top 10 team and go out and get a big victory.
Seeing the dramatic end here, you're in double overtime, and I believe this next highlight is the call where you said, we're going to go for 2. So it's after these guys score. Double overtime. You didn't kick the extra point. You said after 2 series of OT, we're going for it, and it ultimately paid off. Walk us through this whole scenario.
Well, the biggest thing is we were just running ISO right down here, and I told our guys, we'll tell them to play if they want to know it. We're running ISO, and we're going to keep doing it until we win this football game. And there was our game, or that one pulled us to within 1. we had an extra point blocked earlier about in the fourth quarter that really put us behind the 8 ball, and I looked at our guys and they were hungry. I said, which way you want to go? They said 33, so we lined it up and we ran 33. I think everybody in the stadium knew it was coming, but our guys did a great job getting a push right there, and Colton wasn't going to go down until they crossed the goal line.
Well, you guys have a strong opponent, like you said, Northwest coming up here. They have 2 strong wins, Alliance and Gehring. That Alliance win, Jarrett Cole had 2 big sacks, so he's obviously a great guy for them defensively at some key moments. They ended up winning that game 17-7. What is kind of the game plan here offensively as you look to face a tough defense that Northwest brings to the table?
Yeah, they've given up 7 points in 2 weeks. So, regardless of the competition, it's going to be, that's a tremendous job. They've got some guys that can really move. They've got some kids that are strong. And we've just got to execute our offense. And that's all we've really focused on. We've got them scouted to where we think we know where they're going to line up, and they're going to throw good wrinkles. I've always appreciated Kevin Stein, the head coach down there. He does a great job of taking away what the other team likes to do. So we expect something a little bit funky when we try to run our ISO and we try to get our big backs back there and run downhill. So we're throwing different things at our guys, and we've been through this before. Where when we get rolling with that ISO and that stretch play, and teams are throwing all kinds of different looks at us. So we've just been throwing some exotic looks at it, and that's how we're trying to prepare. But we're really focusing on ourselves and knowing that if we go out and do our assignment, we'll be just fine.
Well, and Coach, obviously you're hoping to carry the momentum into that game against Northwest. Not a secret, you snapped a 10-game losing streak with that victory, so I asked you about it on Friday. How did that feel for you and the program to get that monkey off your back? Of course, we watched the engagement of the story we put up on our website, and you could just see how much the Discover pride bleeds for this program because it got over 200 likes on our Facebook page. So that means, the Discover program is back, they got the victory. And what does that mean for you and for the players to get that win?
Well, the biggest thing it means for me is that those guys got that win. And, there was a lot of guys that were in tears after that first week. And just letting that thing slip away, it really bugged them. And, then there was a lot of guys in tears after last week, just knowing how hard they've worked the last 2 years and how guys have doubted them, how people have doubted them all the way through. But they've always believed in themselves. And they know that they can be a good football team. They know last week was a step in the right direction. And what we're hoping as a coaching staff is all they needed was that one, and we get this thing rolling and snowballing, rolling downhill.
When you look at GI Northwest, so when you guys are in Class A, you're playing teams like Fremont for the FNC Cup. You got the Maroon Cup with Norfolk. I'm very familiar, obviously, with those.
Right.
Do you see GI as a very similar size community, a little bit bigger, obviously, but as maybe another rival as we move forward here in the Class B?
That's tough because we've only been, this is our third go around in Class B. We have played them a couple times before, and I believe it's split 1-1 with GI Northwest. But it'd be nice if we could form some of those rivalries. I don't know if we're there with GI right now, but if we can find a couple teams like that we can have that rivalry with. Unfortunately, in football, we don't get a play out of our class, so there's no chance of us playing Kearney and Fremont. So. I'm sorry, Norfolk and Fremont. So if we can find that rivalry, it would certainly add to a couple games throughout the year.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. Well, the time, where does it go? It's ramped up. 8.5 minutes is beyond us, but we're wishing you the best of luck, obviously, as Grand Island Northwest is just around the corner. Any final thoughts as we wrap this one up here on Coach's Show?
No, just a tremendous opportunity to be here and speak with you guys and to sit next to Grant after the stuff we've been through well over a decade ago now, right? But, I love coming here every Wednesday and getting everybody to visit with you guys about our program.
Well, Coach, we're glad to have you here on the Coach's Show. Stay with us. The Discoverers are taking on Northwest this Friday. Coming in is Lakeview head coach Kurt Frenzen next on the Coach's Show.
Hi, I'm Dee Hansen. I'm the marketing director, and we would like to introduce you to Bank of the Valley.
Community-minded, family-centered, measurable relationships. When it comes to your business, agriculture, and personal banking needs, trust Bank of the Valley.
We're obviously a locally owned bank, but we're also a bank that's very involved.
The most important thing is when you walk in the front door, everybody knows your first name. We are small town banking with all the modern conveniences.
Bank of the Valley in Bellwood, David City, Platte Center, Columbus, and their new location in Humphrey.
At Home 360, they invite you to experience the difference by thinking outside the box when it comes to every aspect of flooring your home. Home 360 will help you transform your home with a huge selection of the area's most popular products and a design team that stays on top of the latest trends and the most classic finishes. Give Home 360 a call today. Home 360 located at 2409 14th Street in downtown Columbus. If you can dream it, we can do it.
And welcome back live to the Coaches Show in the News Channel Nebraska studios. With us for our second segment is Lakeview head coach Kurt Frenzen, stopping back in like he will be every week. Kurt, how are you doing this week?
Well, not too bad. We've had a good week of practice thus far, and we're ready to rebound from our tough loss against Norfolk Catholic and get ready to go against Fort Calhoun this week.
All right, well, before we talk about Fort Calhoun, let's jump into tonight's game as we take a look at some highlights. Of course, no secret, Norfolk Catholic, always a power in C1, one of the top teams in the state, and you had to travel up there. Score was 42-22, I believe, and walk us through what happened that game.
Well, we came into the game, thought we could get after it and play 4 quarters of football, and I thought we had a good chance. Jordan Jansen led our game with some good, tough rushing yards. He came into the game as our second leading rusher and did a great job keeping us in it at times. We had really good flashes of defensive play, and Jordan Jansen obviously did it on defense as well at times. And you can see Zach Cobes at different times during the course of the game as well, just like that play there where he just disrupts things. There he's got 2 guys on him on a draw play, and he's able to get through and make the tackle as well, but just has done an outstanding job. We had a drive there in the second quarter, and this is the beginning of that drive. We were able to take it right down the field in the teeth of their first team defense, and we were down 14 at this time and mixed the run and pass in really well and had a good pace to our offense, and our kids just did a nice job of getting after it. And between Jordan Jansen, Isaac Dreyfus, and Dakota Prorock on that drive, we really did some nice things. And of course Jaden Johnson getting the edge is where he operates the best, and he's able on a rollout to get the ball to Lane Ager there and get us in good scoring position. Then Jordan Jansen was able to come down and finish the drive for us. So at that point in time it was 14-6. We'd actually got them to turn the ball over on downs, and we got the ball back down 14-6, but our offense couldn't do anything with it, unfortunately for us. So, I felt really good at that point in time. We'd just driven it down. We just got a quick 3 and out. So I thought, well, hey, here we go. If we can get the momentum going our way again. There was about 8 minutes left in the first half. We were down 14-6. Just had a really good opportunity to make some good things happen there. And then, things just didn't go our way. And all of a sudden I looked up the scoreboard and it was 28-6 going into halftime. So unfortunately for us, we just couldn't sustain a drive on offense. Defensively, we just couldn't help ourselves out. And in the second half, we fumbled on our own 5-yard line. They were able to get it there, punch it in. And they did a good job. We held them to 3rd down, which was the story of the night. We had them in 3rd and long or 3rd and medium a lot during the course of the game. We just could not get off the field on 3rd down. And again, our first 4 possessions of the second half went fumble, I believe, an interception, and then punt block. And they had the 1 fumble at the 5-yard line. The next fumble they scooped and scored, and obviously the punt they turned into points as well. One highlight of the game for us that we really felt like, okay, our kids are still there with us. There's obviously a great play by Nick Dolezal and an amazing catch by him. But they had intercepted the ball here, and this is part of that series right here where we were down at this point in time. Obviously, I think it was 35-6. Actually, it would have been 42-6. And this was one of our best stands that we had on defense. We got a 3 and out there. I was just super pleased with the way things went. We had a quick kick there out of our shotgun formation. We didn't execute at a high level. They were able to block the punt. And that's the thing. You're going to make some mistakes against Norfolk Catholic. They're going to make it hurt, and they did that night. And then we were able to tack in a couple touchdowns later in the game. Here Jordan Jansen did most of the damage rushing the football on this drive again. Just some really good tough yardage. Jaden Johnson scampers on a nice little option play for us, and we get him in space. He does a nice job for us. And then just a nice tough run by Jordan Jansen here and finish the drive. Leg drive, everything that we would want and ask out of him. and he's capable of doing that a lot of downs. So just amazing job on his. And then Seth Gerkensmeyer with another great run for us as well. So appreciate those guys coming in and still working their tails off at the end of the game.
Jordan Jansen, you talk about obviously, and who we're just looking at right now is a strong runner. 10 touches in the first game, 16 in the second game. Do you see those touches kind of increasing as we go here? Because he seems to obviously be able to carry the load, especially with how he's running against a tough Norfolk Catholic team.
Well, to be honest with you, we're monitoring his carries a little bit early in the season just for the simple fact that he is our mainstay on our defense right now. He's our strong side linebacker, and he runs the field extremely well. So we can't, at this point in time, have him carry the ball 40 times because we got to be able to shut teams down on defense. And we feel like we're pretty deep at the running back position. So we feel like between him and Jacob Frenzen, Lane Ager, and Lucas Thatcher, we feel like we've got some mix going there. And Seth Gerkensmeyer's really had a nice couple weeks here, so he's kind of maybe going to be able to get in the mix at some point in time. But between those guys, we feel like we're building some depth on the offensive side, so we'd like to keep Jordan a little bit fresher on defense if at all possible.
And looking offensively, you found the end zone 3 times against a tough Norfolk Catholic thing. Is that obviously a positive you take away from one of the top teams in C1? Did you feel your offense produced the way you wanted it to?
Not consistent enough. We had some moments where I felt like, boy, we're moving the ball really well. And then we just have some moments where we just have breakdowns. And I don't care if it was offense, defense, or special teams. We preached to our kids all week long that we've got to have 11 guys doing their job on every single play. And what we ended up having happen was we'd have 3 or 4 guys doing their job. Now, that's not for the lack of effort. When we got it back, obviously all our coaches split up and went back and started watching film on our own. We all came back together when we met on Sunday and said, you know what, the effort was there. We just started overcompensating, doing somebody else's job. So that was encouraging to us as coaches. Your players care a great deal and they want to be successful. But we just can't go out of our area. We can't, cover somebody else's zone. We can't jump a gap on defensive line. I don't care what level it was, D-line, linebackers, DBs, offensive line, backs, receivers. We weren't consistent enough at all 11 positions to be successful in that game. So that's one of the things we're really trying to focus on. I saw an improvement this week on that. And the thing was, against Milford, we had some of those moments where we didn't have 11 guys doing their job, but the effort carried us. Well, against a good, solid Norfolk Catholic game, your effort, just pure effort's not going to carry it. You're going to have to be very sound on all 3 phases to be successful, and we did not do that the other night.
This Fort Calhoun game is going to be a tough one for you and a very important one. They're 2-0. They've beaten Conestoga and Louisville. Now, they have a very talented quarterback in Jamie Wagner, who in the last game, 12 for 20, 143 yards and 2 touchdowns. What are you guys going to do defensively to kind of reel him in?
We got to stay in our quadrants on defensive line. We can't let them get out of the pocket. And they actually play 2 quarterbacks, number 7 and number 4. Both their quarterbacks are very good athletes and would start for a lot of C1 teams. So number 7 plays a little bit more than number 4, but they're equally dangerous in my view. And they have a nice, good zone running back. And by that I mean running an inside zone is a gift. And you can't just have any back line up in a single back and run inside zone. He's got to have great vision. He has to know the cutback lanes. And the kid they have, he'll get north and south in a hurry, or he'll hit the gap, he'll be patient, and then he'll bounce it out underneath your weak side end. So they run and do what they do very well. And we're going to have to be very sound on defense. Again, we've got to do our responsibilities. We had a really good practice today, and I'm excited about where we finished practice at today defensively. And then offensively, we got to keep those quarterbacks off the field. We need drives. We need 10 and 12 and 14 play drives. And we're not we'll get big plays and we'll take them, but we've got to make sure and have those drives when we have it when we're possible. So.
All right, Coach, well, quickly wrapping this one up, you said the energy is good at practice. What is the mindset of your players as you enter the season 1-1? You played a very good team, and you're sitting at 500.
We're excited to have the opportunity to play a 2-0 Fort Calhoun team. They're a good football team, and Coach Christian's done a great job. They're in the playoffs a couple years ago. Last year, I believe they were 4-5, and we're knocking on the door of the playoffs again against a lot of quality teams. So, to be honest with you, it's a good matchup, and we need to go out there and just take care of what we can control, and that's just playing hard with great effort and then, again, taking care of those responsibilities. And I feel great about our chances Friday night on homecoming against Fort Calhoun.
All right, Coach, we're wishing you the best of luck as always, as Lakeview looking to improve to 2-1 when they host Fort Calhoun for their homecoming matchup. Stay with us on the Coach's Show. That wraps up our second segment, but head coach Tyler Linder is coming in as they talk to Shamrocks as they took on the top team in Class C1 on Friday.
We know this town. It's where we grew up. It's where we raised our kids. That's why it's really important that we help this town grow, because Columbus is really a part of who we are. We love helping people find the home of their dreams. I guess you could say we make dreams come true.
RE/MAX, Total Realty. Quail Run Golf Course has matured into one of the top-ranked public courses in Nebraska since its inception 25 years ago. With its tempting par 5s, deceiving par 3s, and fair but demanding par 4s, players are sure to be challenged. You're invited to come try the practice facilities, join a league, schedule a lesson, or just get out and play. Quail Run Golf Course, Columbus, Nebraska.
And welcome back to our third and final segment here on Coach's Show. Joining us for the final segment, as always, is head coach Tyler Linder with the Shamrocks, and he is classing things up for the final segment of the show. I like the blazer, Coach.
Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for the hand-me-out. I appreciate it.
It looks good.
Yeah. Well, let's jump right in, shall we? Had top-ranked Bishop Neumann, a very, very good foe on Friday. That was the game we had broadcast live, and they were basically the type of team that you were last year in terms of experience and seniors being brought back. You had some turnover this year, and they were the guys that had everybody. So it was 34-14 was your final score, but kind of walk us through the game as we take a look at some of these highlights and kind of your take on things from Friday night.
Yeah, Bishop Neumann came into town for our home opener, and they are everything that they're made out to be. They're a very talented team, very well coached. They've got a phenomenal quarterback. But the thing that I was most impressed with is their offensive line, and their defensive line. They were very, very good, and it was hard for us to kind of to win that battle in the trenches at times. So disappointed with the Week 2 loss, but we learned a lot about our team and a lot of areas that we needed to improve last week.
Good put.
Evan Shohan, coach, is a player that's obviously a big role for you guys, both defensively and offensively. You have him at the tight end position.
You have him at the flex position, and then 9 touches this last week and 54 yards out of the running back position. How do you see him being utilized, I guess? Do you see him maybe getting a few more touches moving forward here?
Yeah, Evan's a dynamic guy. Last year he really made his mark on our team on defense. He was our leading tackler, and so we knew he was going to be kind of the anchor of our defense. And we kind of got together as a coaching staff and talked about, if the season were to end today, what would our biggest regret be? And it would be not giving him the ball more. And so Coach Pellon, our offensive coordinator, has gotten really creative with the ways that we use him, and we're expecting him to be a very influential person in our, not just on defense but also on offense. So we've changed just a few things to try to get him, the ball in space a little bit more. But he's also, he's 6'4", 210 pounds, and so if he's running at you with the full head of steam, I like our chances. So he'll get a lot of touches this week and going forward. So we're very, very blessed to have him on our roster.
And looking at the timeline of this game, a great play by Tate Cannon, by the way. It was 0-0 after the first quarter, but in the second is really where Bishop Neumann kind of started getting into a rhythm. You see the passing attack by Noah Vedral, although a great play by Jarecki there. What happened in that second quarter, I guess, that it was 21, I believe, nothing going into half.
Yeah, we matched up with them extremely well in that first quarter. It was 0-0. We were feeling really good about ourselves. We were winning, the field position game, and then, good teams like Newman can put points on fast. And they smelled a little bit of blood in the water in that second quarter, and they really went after us. And it went from a 0-0 ball game to a 21-0 ball game really quick. And that's what good teams can do. When they can pour it on, they'll pour it on hard. And so they kind of threw a haymaker at us in that second quarter, left us a little bit stunned, and we had to regroup at halftime. And I think we made some good adjustments, but trying to battle 21 points back from a very talented team like a Vedral and company was a difficult task. But our boys proud of their efforts. They fought hard to the very end, and we learned a lot about our toughness and really about our depth late in the game.
Defensively, again, you guys gave up 34 points, but I thought you guys did have some nice things. Luke Jarecki is a guy who I thought played really well out of that cornerback position. Now, they continually attacked him over and over again in the passing offense like they played. Eventually, one is going to probably go through because Vedral just has a great arm and is able to find those receivers in some tough spots. When you went back and looked at that second and third layer of defense, what was kind of your evaluation of how they played?
I didn't think we played too bad in the secondary. Obviously, there's lots of things we can clean up and get better at, but like you said, a guy like Luke Jarecki, Ledecky, who is at times 6 inches shorter than some of their receivers, he fared extremely well. We play an aggressive style of man-to-man defense. We think that if we can get a guy on your guy, even if he catches it, we have a great opportunity to make a play right there instead of having yards after the catch. And so guys like Luke and Tony Cush and Dalton Taylor did a very, very good job in the secondary. Now, we always say, in our program, even after wins, but even especially after losses, there's certain things that we're happy about, but we're never satisfied. So we're always looking to be better each and every week, and I think we've taken that step going forward with this week of prep. Our kids are highly motivated to get back on the positive side of a win-loss record. So starting 1-1 isn't necessarily where we want to be, but our student athletes understand that all of our goals are still intact. We still have a great opportunity to make the playoffs. It's still very early. We're trying to line ourselves up to make a great run at our district title and set us up for success in a deep playoff run.
Another talking point from the contest in general was the fact that line you mentioned for the Cavaliers was able to congest and stuff the run so many times for you guys. You had a few big runs, but not a whole lot, not like what we're used to seeing last year, of course, which goes to that turnover. But is it just a situation where you tip your cap to those guys for the Cavaliers, or was there anything you could do to improve against Pierce?
Yeah, they're extremely well coached, and one thing that I honestly didn't give them as much credit as they deserved early on. We preached all week about stopping Vedral and their running game and their passing game, and we didn't give too much of a nod of credit to their offensive line. And hindsight's 20/20, but they're a very, very talented group up front, both offensively and defensively. So we've challenged not only our coaching staff but also our players in the trenches that we've got to win those battles. We've got to be a little bit better up front for the Shamrocks.
When you talk about offensively preparing from one week to another and getting ready for this Pierce game, a big strength for them is that linebacking core headed up by Sullivan, who is, as Coach Bramer said, probably pound for pound the strongest guy on their team. When you look about preparing for their defense, what do you think you guys need to do to get around that linebacking core and that defensive line? Yeah,
the good news is our players haven't had to learn anything necessarily new. Pierce runs almost an identical defense to what Newman ran, so it was an easy prep week for us, but a lot of, a great opportunity for us to step up and correct a lot of things that were glaring errors in that Newman game. So, like you said, they've got a great linebacking core. They run that 6-2 defense, and so those inside backers really can run sideline to sideline, and they give those guys a lot of freedom. So we'll keep them honest, in the passing game, getting them out in the flats, but our play action game is going to have to be really strong in order to suck them up and throw behind them, because they are, they sniff out run really, really well, and they're able to stuff it at the line of scrimmage. So we've got to get them tired running them east to west a little bit, and then we can't be afraid to run it right at them.
And looking forward to the Blue Jays, Tyler Palmer was another talking point. Of course, 2 weeks in, we were continuing to be impressed against the Cavaliers on that 45-yard bomb he threw on the run against the Cavaliers. Had a couple late touchdowns. Are you continuing to be impressed with his growth after 2 games of play heading into the Blue Jays contest?
Yeah, he's coming into his own very well. There's moments where he looks like a senior quarterback, but then there's times where he looks like a freshman quarterback. So we're very very happy with how he's grown. With the first 2 weeks, and he's got a very, very high ceiling. So excited to see exactly how good Tyler Palmer can be by the end of his freshman year. And I think the thing that can help out a young quarterback is an offensive line. A good offensive line can really help out a young developing quarterback, and we just have to be able to distribute the ball well. And I challenged our coaching staff and our players this week to get ahead of schedule and stay ahead of the sticks, because there's nothing that can hurt a young quarterback more than going second and 15 or third and long. So we've got to stay ahead of the sticks and really help out our younger guys that have a little less game experience.
All right, Coach, we'll wrap this one up. We got 30 seconds. It's homecoming as you take on Pierce. How you feeling heading into the final contest, or the third contest rather, of the week?
Yeah, we're feeling really good. We've had a great week of prep. I'm excited the way that our kids have responded. There's 2 ways you can take a loss. You can either beat yourself up over it and dwell on it, or you can use it as a positive and motivate ourselves to be better. And I think we've done the latter of those 2 things. So, it's you're getting to the third week of the season. We're ready to play again. Practices are crisp, and we're excited for competition on Friday.
Well, always wishing the Shamrocks the best of luck. They're hosting Pierce for their homecoming as that wraps up this week's edition of Coach's Show. Brandon Axford alongside Grant Otten. He's head coach Tyler Linder. We'll be here next week live at 7 o'clock. Be sure to catch the re-air as well as 7:30, 12:30, and 4:30 on Thursdays and Fridays on News Channel Nebraska. We'll catch you next week.
At Kobza Ag and Home, we are a local, family-owned business who prides ourselves on personal service. We can handle all of your real estate needs, from residential to commercial to agriculture. Give Bob, Laura, or Ashley a call today and experience the Kobza service.